Megan had always loved the idea of escaping to a remote cabin for a weekend getaway. So, when she found the perfect listing on Airbnb, a secluded vintage cottage nestled deep in the woods, she was thrilled, and exactly the photos were enchanting. A charming, ivy clad retreat with a roaring fireplace and a wrap-around porch. The reviews, though sparse, were gloomy. Magical place. One reviewer had said, perfect for a quiet retreat. Megan clicked book now without hesitation. The drive was longer than anticipated. Megan lost cell service about halfway through, and the road turned to a rough gravel path. But as she finally arrived, the cabin looked even better in person. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the surroundings. She unlocked the door with the code sent by the host, and it swung open with a creak. Inside, the cabin was just as lovely as the photos promised. Dusty old furniture, an antique record player, and a collection of classic novels lined the shelves. Megan immediately felt at ease. She put her bags down and decided to take a walk around the property before dark. The surrounding forest was dense and tranquil, with only the occasional rustle of leaves break the silence. The air was crisp and cool. As she wandered deeper into the woods, she noticed an old, overgrown path. Curiosity got the better of her, so she decided to follow it. The path wound its way through the trees until it led to an old, dilapidated shed. Its door hung loosely on its hinges. Megan hesitated but decided to take a quick look inside. She shone her phone's flashlight around, revealing cobwebs and dusty tools, nothing particularly interesting. But there was an unsettling feeling she couldn't shake. She turned to leave and noticed something odd, a dark shape at the edge of the forest. It was too far to make out clearly. Returning to the cabin, Megan ate herself dinner and settled in for a quiet evening. As night fell, she lit the fireplace and played some soft music on the record player. Just as she was about to pour a glass of wine, she heard a faint knock at the door. Puzzled, she approached and opened it, but no one was there. Only the quiet moonlight woods greeted her. She checked around the cabin but saw no signs of anyone. Thinking it might have been the wind or a trick of her imagination, she went back inside. The night wore on, and Megan's unease grew. The knocking had become a regular occurrence, always at the same intervals: three knocks, a pause, then another three knocks. Each time she checked, she found nothing. She considered calling the host, but with no call service, she had no way to reach them. Just after midnight, the power went out. The cabin was plunged into darkness with only the firelight flickering in the living room. Megan felt a chill and tried to reassure herself, but the knocking resumed, louder and more insistent. Grabbing a flashlight, she ventured outside, hoping to find the source of the noise. As she approached the shed, the flashlight beam caught something unusual: scratches on the door and a crow dowling attached into the wood. It depicted a figure with hollow eyes, surrounded by what looked like symbols she didn't recognize. A shiver came down her spine. She turned to head back to the cabin, but then she saw it, a shadowy figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It was too far to make out details, but the shape seemed to be watching her. Panicking, Megan ran back to the cabin. She looked the doors and windows, her heart pounding. The knocking had stopped, replaced by an eerie silence. She tried to calm herself, but every creak of the cabin seemed louder in the stillness. Hours passed in restless dread. By dawn, the power was still out and the knocking hadn't resumed. Megan packed her things quickly, her hands shaking. As she was about to leave, she noticed something odd on the porch. A note written in a scrawling, shaky hand. Not safe here. Leave before dark. Megan didn't waste another moment. She drove back to the civilization, her nerves frayed. Back home, she tried to contact Airbnb for an explanation, but the listing had been taken down and the host's profile was missing. The experience left her way of scheduled getaways. She never found out who or what had been knocking on the door that night. The cabin remained a mystery, a dark secret hidden deep in the woods. It was supposed to be a relaxing getaway in the countryside. The listing boasted of a charming, secluded cabin with stunning views and modern amenities. What wasn't mentioned was the local lore or the cabin's dark history. Upon arrival, the group of friends was taken in by the picturesque scenery and the cabin's rustic charm. They were greeted by a cheerful host who seemed eager to share tips about the area. The host left and the friends settled in, eager for a peaceful weekend. That night, after a long day of hiking, they gathered around the fireplace, sharing stories and laughter. As they moved to the dining table for a late dinner, they noticed a peculiar painting on the wall. It depicted a hunting, fog covered forest with eyes peering out from the shadows. The friends shrugged it off as queerly piece of art. But as the evening progressed, an unsettling feeling crept over them. Strange noises came from the attic, creaks, thumps, and the sound of something grating across the floor. When they went in to investigate, they found nothing but old storage items and dust. Their first night was restless. One of the friends, Sarah, woke up to find the bedroom door ajar, though she was sure she had locked it. She dismissed it as a figment of her imagination and went back to sleep. The second day, the noises grew louder, and they could swear they heard whispers coming from the attic. They decided to explore the surrounding area, hoping a change of scenery would lift their spirits. They wandered into a nearby forest and stumbled upon a small, abandoned shack. Inside, they found old journals and faded photographs, all depicting the same airy forest from the painting. Unease grew as they returned to the cabin. They noticed the painting had changed. The once foggy scene now depicted a more defined figure standing among the trees, with hollow eyes staring out. They tried to brush it off, attributing to the cabin's drafty conditions affecting their perceptions. That night, the disturbances escalated, doors creaked open on their own, and shadows moved in the corners of their eyes. They could hear faint cries and whispers seeming to come from the walls themselves. Sleep was impossible. Desperate for answers, they dug through old local records and discovered a chilling account. The cabin had once belonged to a reclusive artist who vanished under mysterious circumstances. The artist had a history of painting, distributing scenes often said to capture a darker reality. On the third night, the atmosphere became oppressive, the temperature dropped suddenly, and the whisper grew louder. One friend, Mark, decided to confront whatever was causing the disturbances. He went to the attic, flashlight in hand, and found an old trunk. Inside, there were more disturbing paintings, each more unsettling than the last. He turned to leave, but felt an icy hand grasp his shoulder. The flashlight flickered, and he saw a shadowy figure in the corner. Its eyes glowing with the malevolence, panicking, he ran back downstairs. But the figure seemed to follow him, its presence growing stronger with each step. The crowd decided to leave immediately, packing their things as quickly as they could. As they rushed out, the cabin seemed to come alive with noise and movement. doors slamming, windows shattering, and an overpowering sense of dread. They drove away, not stopping until they reached the nearest town. Though they tried to rationalize their experiences, the sense of terror remained with them. They never spoke of the cabin again, and none of them could forget the chilling gaze of the figure in the attic. The next morning, the cabin was found empty, its doors wide open. The host was nowhere to be found, and the locals whispered about the curse that seemed to live taken hold of the place. The cabin was eventually boarded up, but those who pass by they say still see shadows moving within and hear faint whispers carried on the wind. The French never returned to the countryside haunted by their encounter. They learned that some places are better left unexplored and some stories are better left untold. The quaint ivy-covered cottage nestled in the rolling hills of Tuscany promised a tranquil escape. Its charming facade, its adorned with vibrant geraniums, concealed a darkness that would forever haunt my dreams. The owner, a silver-haired woman with eyes that held a melancholic depth, assured me of its peaceful nature. A heaven for weary souls, she had said, her voice a soft melody. The cottage was a symphony of rustic charm. Wooden beams crisscrossed the valuted ceilings, a crackling fireplace warmed the stone floor, and the air was thick with the scent of lavender. Yet a subtle unease clung to the air, a faint whisper of something unseen. It began with unsettling sound whispers, echoing in the dead of night, the rustling of unseen footsteps on the creaking wooden floorboards. At first, I dismissed them as tricks of the wind, but as the days turned into nights, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. One evening, as I sat by the fireplace, lost in a book, the silence was shattered by a blood-curdling scream. It echoed through the cottage, piercing the air with its raw terror. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. The scream came again, followed by a bone chilling silence. Panic surged through me. I grabbed a nearby lamp, its flickering light casting long, distorted shadows across the room. I cautiously made my way towards the source of the scream, my hand trembling on the lampshade. The bedroom door stood ajar, silver of darkness beckoning me in. Fear gnawed at me, but curiosity, followed by a desperate need to understand, compelled me forward. The room was empty, the bed unmade, a single overturned chair, the only sign of disturbance. As I inspected the room, I noticed a faint, sweet scent in the air, a cloying perfume that made my stomach turn. A chill ran down my spine. It was the same scent I had detected earlier, a subtle yet pervasive odor that seemed to cling to the very walls of the cottage. Days turned into a blur of a sleepless night, haunted by the recurring screams and whispers. I tried to rationalize the occurrences, attributing them to my own overactive imagination, but the truth was I knew something was wrong. I had stumbled upon a secret, a darkness that lurked beneath the cottage's charming exterior. One night, unable to bear the suffocating silence anymore, I decided to leave. As I packed my belongings, I noticed a small leather bound journal tucked away in a dusty corner. Curiosity got the better of me, and I cautiously opened it. The pages were filled with the handwritten entries, each one detailing a gruesome tale of violence and despair. The journal belonged to the cottage's previous owner, a woman named Maria. Her writings spoke of a jealous rage, a lover's betrayal, and a final brutal act of revenge. The truth about the screams and whispers became horrifyingly clear. The cottage was haunted by the ghost of Maria, a spirit forever bound to the place where she had met her ultimately demons. With each word I read, the air grew colder and shadows danced more menacingly. I know I had to get out of there. I slammed the journal shut, my heart pounding in my ears, and rushed out of the cottage. As I drove away, I glanced back at the quaint ivy covered cottage. The sun was setting, casting an ear glow on its facade. The cottage, once a heaven for weary souls, now stood as a monument to a tragic past. The whispers and screams forever etched in my memory were a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of even the most charming places. From that day forward, I vowed never to return to the cottage. The tranquility I had sought was shattered, replaced by a haunting fear that would forever linger in the recesses of my mind. The Tuscan hills, once a symbol of peace and beauty, would forever be associated with the chilling screams that echoed through the cottage's walls, a reminder that even the most idyllic settings can hold secrets that are best left undisturbed.